In the absence of their star, Jason Tatum, who is recovering from Achilles surgery. The result was the Celtics' best defensive game of the series. They suffocated the Knicks, 127-102. And the victory to cut the series lead to 3-2, force a Game 6 on Friday back here in New York. Here's Joe Mazzulla and Jaylen Brown post-game. Gentlemen, hello.
A lot of these guys have been around the league a long time, and they've seen a lot. And to me, you just rely on the character of the guys, the togetherness, the staff. At the end of the day, you don't get to pick the test that you have. You just pick how you respond to them, and and that's kind of how life works.
I appreciate the fans that showed up tonight. It was a great atmosphere. It was loud. And I know it's easy to kind of write things off. Obviously, unfortunate what happened at JT, but we still got basketball to be played. I believe in this group, so don't count us out just yet.
Stephen A., what's your concern level for your New York Knicks?
It's heightened. It's heightened significantly. I'm going to tell you that right now. If on a scale of 1 to 10, you ask, it's about an 8.
An 8?
It's about an 8. It's about an 8. You can't lose Game 6. You can't lose Game 6 at Madison Square Garden. I'm going to tell you what I saw last night that really, really disturbed me. I'm not going to be one of those dudes, oh, you know what, it's the Knicks, damn it, we'll find a way. You better find a way. But I'm not sure they're going to. But they better find a way tomorrow night. You don't want to go back to Boston. They're very familiar with those rims, obviously. They've outscored the Knicks by 90 points on three-point shots in this series, okay? Fast break points last night, they had a field day with the New York Knicks. I think it was like 31-9 or something like that, if I remember correctly. Here's where my concern lies. Outside of Luke Cornett, okay, I mean, the man ain't never started a playoff game, okay? He's started about 16 games in his career. This brother came out and looked like the second coming of Bill Walton, God rest his soul. 5 blocks in the third quarter, 7 blocks for the game, just erasing everything at the rim, particularly in the second half. I couldn't believe it, all right? But here's what really, really alarmed me. Believe it or not, it's not Jaylen Brown. He is getting paid $304 million for a reason. The brothers are studs. He's the reigning NBA Finals MVP. We know what Jaylen Brown could do. Props to him for showing up last night, having 26 points, 12 assists, just 2 turnovers in nearly 38 minutes. What really, really concerns me is that without Jason Tatum, I haven't seen the Boston Celtics move the basketball like that in 2 years.
Yes.
Move the basketball. I'm talking about having your spacing, making sure you sharing and distributing the basketball, having faith in your teammates, and guess what? Everybody's touching it, and you don't know who to guard because if it ain't Jaylen Brown hitting pulling up for one of his mid-range game, attacking the basket, or hitting the occasional 3, it was Derek White drilling them for like 4 or 5 threes in the first half, hitting 7 for the game. By the way, he's had 13 3-point shots in the last 2 games, okay? Or it's Pritchard. I mean, everywhere you turned, cats were shooting. And if they shoot the basketball like that, sharing it like that, the Knicks are going to have a problem. The New York Knicks defense was not great. They didn't get back into transition defense. That was not good. But we look at the Boston Celtics and we're reminded they're a talented bunch. They have depth and they have a championship pedigree. Same team they had last year. These guys have been here before. New York Knicks got to win Game 6. Otherwise, I'm not confident they can go back to Boston and win a Game 7 based off of what I saw last night.
I'll tell you why you need to be a little nervous. They found their why. You're talking about a team who has been to the finals, who lost to us in the Eastern Conference Finals, who won it last year. Gets a little repetitive. You can lose your edge a little bit. The unfortunate situation with Jason Tatum has brought them together. They are motivated, and it's been a long time, Stephen A., since we've seen a desperate Boston Celtics. They've been sitting at the top of the East, sitting pretty for a long time. This is a desperate Boston Celtics team, and we're really seeing what they're made of right now. And to your point, Jaylen Brown, not only a great player, but I think he was also a leader last night. If you look at what he was doing on the sideline and all the things he was talking about, his leadership. So, for me, you got to be a little nervous, dog. Be a little nervous, and I'm smiling over here. I love it. I love this spot. Y'all put me right across from him on purpose? Y'all put me right here on purpose? I get to watch this for 2 hours. I'm blessed.
I will echo what all of you guys said, but I think, to me, one of the things that stood out, you're right about the ball movement, S.A., but I also think the Knicks got to continue to shoot the basketball. Like, they were just completely disjointed on both sides of the floor. Mm-hmm. The thing that gives you optimism, confidence, I would say, going into Friday is after losses, Jalen Brunson is averaging 36 points per game.
And they're 3-0.
Mm-hmm. And they're 3-0, right? Those are wins. I think this team relishes in the opportunity to self-correct, to address their mistakes, I have a ton of respect for Boston. And in fact, pregame, Joe Mazzulla's press conference, his common refrain was, in various ways, we have complete empathy for what JT is going through, but tactically we have an opportunity in front of us. And so you could feel the emotion. You talk about that building. In the third quarter of that game, that was the loudest I've heard that building in this entire series. And so for Jaylen Brown to call out the fans, that is appropriate because they were truly in it. They were the sixth man on the floor in terms of willing their team into it. I am not usually one to go here, but I'm really curious how the officiating is going to go on Friday night. Because last night, I had some real questions. And I will admit, I thought the Knicks got a very friendly whistle in the first half. And in the second half, okay. Because this game is going to be physical and it is going to be chippy. And I think we got to get to that line where you let the guys play, but it also has to be balanced on both sides.
Well, let me say this to you, Eminem. I'm incredibly disappointed in what you just said.
Because?
The reigning defending champions are on the brink of elimination on their home court, having lost their superstar. What do you think the officials are going to do? Throughout history, we've seen similar scenarios and the same thing happen. You on the brink of elimination, you're a reigning defending NBA champion, you're going to get calls. You got to know that if you're the New York Knicks, you're going to get calls. The first half, they were right in it. They had Boston on its heels, even though it was tied. The fact is they were right there. And the New York Knicks gave you every impression, based on what we've seen from them throughout the playoffs, that if it gets tight, as the game wanes, that's the last position Boston wants to be in. The New York Knicks were right there. The third quarter was about them hitting shots and about Luke Cornett blocking everything under the sun. That was what that was about. I can't look at I'm not saying that the officials didn't miss calls. Please don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm not saying there was balance. What I'm saying is you expect that under those conditions, but even that didn't impact the New York Knicks as much as the three-point shooting and Luke Cornett being in a race at the rim.
I agree with you, but now I'm moving forward to Friday.
I got you.
And that is because I don't know what the storyline as far as officiating would be on Friday, but I think it's going to be an important part of Friday's game because there was a chippiness from both sides last night that had not really existed consistently through the first four games, is all I'm saying. But yeah, they didn't defend a lick, and it ain't no way around it. And they just did not play smart basketball. And I continue to say the urgency of you need to lose weight, otherwise you are putting yourself at a chance to have health problems or to pass away versus the urgency of losing weight to fit into a dress for the summer. You just can't manufacture the urgency. And the Celtics were far more urgent and far more focused than the Knicks
And you
were.
talked about how the Knicks stopped shooting the ball. Do you know the New York Knicks lost this game by 25 points? Do you know that the Boston Celtics only attempted 3 more shot attempts than the Knicks? The New York Knicks shot the ball 81 times.
It was not good.
The Celtics shot at 84. They just thoroughly outplayed the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks, listen, give Mazzulla mad credit. Porzingis looked like a complete no-show. Only had 1 point for the game. It was the only dude that didn't make any shots. That played really.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And Mazzulla like, this ain't your night. Sit down. Cornett going up there.
Cornett play. What you call him? Uncle Luke.
Uncle Luke.
Man.
I'm talking about one from True Live Crew.
Yeah,
I call him Uncle Luke.
That's right.
But I'm going to tell you another thing you need to be worried about, what Boston did, and you got to give Mazzulla credit for this. They targeted Jalen Brunson every time and defensively. Every time they had an opportunity to put him in a pick and roll and get a switch, they attacked him.
Yeah.
They attacked him. They also did the same thing with Cat. Cat on that deep drop.